Hey guys, 63 here, and today I'll be showing you 8 tips you need to be doing in order to rise above the rest in Sea of Thieves. Tip number 1 is about how you stop at the islands. If you've seen Pirates of the Caribbean, in the one movie they drop anchor in the middle of the sea to make a hard stop and turn almost 180 degrees. This is actually called club hauling, and you can do it in game. When approaching the island, go straight at it, and at the last second turn the wheel all the way, drop anchor, and your boat will stop on a dime and turn. On the sloop, you can perform this maneuver solo since the anchor is right behind the wheel. Doing this points your boat in a good direction to leave with your loot. Tip number 2. By default, the lanterns on the boat are always on. Make sure you go around and turn them off as they make your boat extremely visible on the open waters, especially at night. In fact, you can even see a boat with their lights on when they are in the middle of the storm. You can leave the few lights on below the deck so you can see what you're doing, but with the moonlight you should be able to see everything topside without the lanterns. If less boats can spot you first, you're less likely to be robbed of your sweet loots. Tip number 3. This is an extremely important tip, so listen up. All you need is your sword, which many people carry as their secondary weapon anyways. At the edge of the water, just before you start to swim, hold the right trigger on Xbox or left click on PC to do the sword lunge attack, and it will shoot you into the water, and you keep the fast momentum as you swim. This can also be used to get off your boat so that you don't have to unload a cannon to shoot yourself to shore. Just make sure that the lunge attack starts with you standing on something solid and ends with you in the water. There are all sorts of applications for this move, and I'm excited to see what people come up with using this attack. For now, it's a great tool for crossing small lagoons rather than running around, catching up with an enemy trying to flee, and getting to and from the boat as long as you aren't carrying any loot. But I mean, you should always be bringing back some loot. Tip number 4. The handle of the steering wheel with a gold trim indicates when either the boat is steering straight ahead or all the way turned to the left or right. When straightening up the wheel, not only is there a small bump of resistance when the golden handle is completely vertical, but in game there is a light bump noise to help let you know it's straight. Once the ship is straight, barring you're not in a storm, the wheel should stay relatively straight and give you time to do other activities on the boat while you sail. Don't take your eyes off the horizon too long so you don't run into a small island or enemy pirates. That being said, for tip number 5, if you do find yourself sailing through a storm, I highly recommend just keeping the gold-plated handle of the steering wheel vertical and making a beeline through the storm to get out as soon as possible. As long as there are no land masses in front of you, you do not want to be trying to actually navigate through a storm, since as you can see, the storm tries to throw your steering wheel back and forth and spins the compass wildly. In addition, your boat is periodically struck with lightning, which puts holes in the boat, so make sure your partner is below deck with planks in a bucket bailing you out. Literally. Sailing through a storm as a solo is probably suicide, as you will take on water and the storm might just spin you in circles and you'll never get out. Tip number 6. Sometimes the cannons don't show the option to load or unload a cannonball, which can lead to some really unfortunate situations if you line up the perfect shot, pull the trigger, and nothing happens. On top of the cannon, a fuse will show up when the cannon is loaded, and there will be an empty hole on top when it is unloaded. It's always a good practice to load up the cannons as soon as you get on the boat, since they are unloaded by default in case you get into a battle right away. Tip number 7. If enemy pirates do get on your boat, you'll want to make sure they at least don't get the loot. You can climb up to the crow's nest with your loot, jump onto the top of the sail, and drop your loot on top of the sail on the opposite side of the ladder so it's out of sight. Stacking all your loot on top of each other right there will keep it safe while you defend your ship. The first place everyone will look is down below, and if they don't find any loot immediately, they may spend more time down there trying to see if you've hidden it in a corner. If they do spot your loot up top, you can shoot them in the back as they climb up, as they will be defenseless. When you make it back to an outpost with your loot, you can simply climb up, pick up each chest, turn 180 degrees and drop them, and they will fall down right onto the deck and quickly turn them in before someone catches you. On the galleon boat, if you turn both sails to either the left or right all the way, they will actually line up, and you can jump from the first sail to the second sail and store your loot on that way. This way, if someone happens to board the ship and happens to see the loot, they would first need to know to turn both sails before climbing up the ladder, giving you loads of time to defend yourself. This would require a lot of manpower and prior knowledge from enemy pirates, which you will usually only see in well-organized groups. And finally, tip number 8. You want to make sure you're constantly adjusting the sail so that you're catching the wind and sailing as fast as possible. This is even more important if you are chasing or being chased by another boat. It seems more often than not the wind is blowing straight at you, and even the slightest angle of wind in the right direction can open the sails. Making sure you are always fine-tuning the sails as you change directions can be the difference between making it back to the outpost alive or giving all your loot to some guy on a sloop. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to subscribe for more and share the video with your friends, since you do need to rely on others knowing what to do in order to be successful. Until next time.